In this lesson, we're going to go over the stroke brush. To access the menu, look at the very top of your ZBrush interface under Stroke. Okay, let's go ahead and dock that. The option you're looking for is Curve Mode. With this active, it influences all your brushes inside of ZBrush. It also comes with its own draw size and focal shift manipulators. So as you can see, you've got a red one and now cyan, or blue. So the red one is your draw brush, and the blue one is the one that affects your curve. So if you want to move the points around or just move the entire curve, you can. If you want to change the curve draw size and focal shift, you can either press S on your keyboard to change the draw size, or O on your keyboard to change the focal shift, or simply change them in the actual palette themselves. As you can see, they update that way too. Keep in mind that you're also not locked into the standard brush. You can use Polish, Spiral, Claysoft, you can use anything. In fact, you'll find quite a few preset stroke brushes inside your brush palette, as well as the lightbox. So you got things like Damien Standard Curve, the Slash Curve, Displacement Curve, Grid, Dots, Square, Move Curve. You have quite a few to choose from. And while we're probably not going to cover all of them, I will go over a few that kind of stand out. To help find your curve brushes better, press C on the keyboard. First, we'll go over Curve Lathe. What this does is creates a lathe. An interesting structure. As long as you have bend on, you can manipulate the curve to help better create something a bit more unique. Lamps, stuff like that. Maybe even jet engines. Then there's multi-tube. What this does is, unlike many of the other ones, you're allowed to use more than one curve. And of course you can manipulate each one individually. Curve Quad Fill creates geometry based on your curve itself, which is really good for things like wings or masks, eye holes, stuff like that. For more control, however, there's Curve Surface, which creates geometry in between each one of your curves. So it's really good for walls or armor and even wings with multiple membranes. So what about the rest of these options down here? You've got As Line, Curve Step, Bend, Snap, Intensity, Size, Curve Fall Off, Delete, Snapshot, and Max Points. Well, As Line draws a straight line, regardless. So it basically removes your ability to draw a curve using a curve. But of course you can later change these. So if you want to draw a straight line from point A to point B and then later change it, you can. As for Curve Step, this affects the distance between each of your dots. This works hand in hand with max points, which is how many dots you're allowed to have, and the maximum distance in your curve. So let's say, for instance, I drop this down to like 4, and then draw a new curve. As you can see, by slightly moving it out, there are only 4 points. 2 to begin with, 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, and 2 in the center. Anyway, so that is Curve Step and max points. Bend is your ability to bend the curve itself. So if you turn bend off, you can no longer actually bend the curve, but instead you can only move it. So turn that back on if you want to actually be able to bend your curve. Turn it off if you want to move your curve. Then you have Snap. What this does is it locks the curve to the surface of your model. So you can't actually draw the curve away from it. So if you want to draw like an insignia or maybe some, like say for instance you're not dealing with a flat surface but a curve or even this, then let's let's turn off As Line and I'll draw a curve around this thing. The curve itself is locked to the surface. See? There you go. intensity is actually a fall off. So if I draw a curve out and then wiggle it around a little bit, if you look, they go down, so it doesn't create an even curve. So basically whichever point you were trying to play with is going to be the top of the hill, and then it just goes down from there. If you turn intensity off and I wiggle that same, then they all grow the same distance. So intensity creates a fall off from point A to point B. Then you've got size. Now size is actually a bit more of an extreme, and you can edit it further by clicking on the curve fall off. So let's draw a new line right there. So there's that. Now let's change the curve down a little bit, and in fact, let's give me a few more points. Give me like 50. Okay, draw that out. Kill the draw size. Click. There we go. Let's move that around. And turn on size and click again. And as you can see, if we up the draw size just a little bit, click it again, that is how size and the fall off can change the shape of your curve itself. So if you want to draw like a wing or something out there, you can draw a nice membrane, which is kind of cool, or a horn or something. Alright, so that's size and fall off. Okay, let's go ahead and close that. Then you've got, of course, delete, which deletes the curve. Let's say you draw a curve and you like how it looks. Let's go ahead and change it. You can press snapshot and then drag that out, and it creates a duplicate of it. So if you press snapshot again, you can do it again. Snapshot again. Now there's actually the shortcut to this is pressing 5 on your keyboard. So if you press 5 and then you can do it again, then press 5, move it out, move it out. Whoops. Move it out, and there you go. And that's the stroke brush. Okay, so this is a tooltip, so we're going to try to keep this short. Realistically, because you can apply this to every single brush inside of ZBrush, I could probably continue talking about this thing and the different settings for a good hour or two, maybe longer, I don't know. But we're going to try to keep this short and cut it off. So if you guys have any questions about the stroke brush, maybe something that I need to clarify, feel free to drop a comment down below, and I will do my best to answer in a timely fashion. Thanks again.